In 2001, Robert Rodriguez released the start of the best kids franchise that we had in the early 2000s. Before Catch That Kid and Agent Cody Banks, there was Spy Kids. Hello, citizens of Sassy Land. I bought these sunglasses from Target because I thought they looked like spy sunglasses. Oh, and I got this triple feature for $5 at Walmart, and I didn't shut up about it for 3 days. It was a good deal. I really thought that this was going to be a really bad movie, like cringe bad, but I actually enjoyed this more than I thought, and I would watch it like 10 more times, so I encourage all of you to watch this again as adults. So let's get into the video. Starting off this movie, we learn that the Cortez family lives in some seemingly remote-ish area, and I don't know where they live, but they look rich. Carmen and Juni are the duo protagonists, and they're getting ready for bed. Carmen is this edgy 10-year-old, and she's the older sister. Juni is hands down my favorite character in the movie because everything he does is hilarious. He's like putting band-aids on his fingers because he has warts or something.
Okay, warts. Prepare to meet your maker.
So to establish the lore of the exciting Cortez family, Carmen asked Mom to tell her a bedtime story about the two spies that fell in love. And I guess Mom tells the story a lot. The story her mom tells is how she met their father, but Carmen thinks it's just a story. They don't know that they're spy kids yet. Also, did you know that Daryl Sabara, the actor who plays Juni, is married to Meghan Trainor? And they are the cutest couple I've ever seen on the internet. He's not a spy kid anymore. He's a spy grown-up. All right, let's learn about Mom and Dad. Both of them were spies for 2 different countries, and both of them had a mission to kill the other person. But one thing led to another, and they got married. The wedding scene gets really chaotic. There's like a bunch of helicopters flying everywhere because I guess them getting married caused a lot of uproar in the spy community. So they settle down in this cliffside mansion, and they work as spy consultants for the spy organization called the OSS. And I don't know what that stands for. And man, their setups are risen. Did I use the word riz right? I love that word, riz. I miss Yeet. Can we bring Yeet back? That was like my favorite. Homegirl has a makeup keyboard, and I know all the McBlean girlies would kill for this. Useless and fabulous, like me. They're talking about how Carmen skips school all the time and Juni gets bullied because he has no friends. Why would anyone bully Juni? Carmen is mean to Juni too, and they're climbing around in this jungle gym, and she kicks him on the floor because he has butterfingers or something. She calls him a pancake.
It's your butterfingers that are slipping. You're a pancake. I'm not.
Dad is taking the kids to school, and we find out that a bunch of spies have been mysteriously vanishing. Juni also watches this really obscure show called Floop's Foogles, which features incredibly disturbing monsters and this Willy Wonka dude who is not Tommy Chalamet, Timothy Chalamet. Juni is the 2001 equivalent of an iPad kid. Like he's just sitting in the car watching weird videos with that toilet head guy, except Juni is very polite, and he is to be protected on this YouTube channel. We do not spread any kind of Juni hate in the comments, or you will be deported from Sassy Land. And these thumb creatures are ridiculous.
What's this supposed to be, a self-portrait? What's this supposed to be, a self-portrait?
You know, I think I'm just gonna turn this into a video essay on Juni Cortez.
Look at this, it's hideous.
It's a Fuqua idea. I designed it myself.
Oh, and Dad gets distracted watching the TV show because one of the monsters looks like the missing agent, and he almost runs over this woman, and she would straight up not survive that. Dad would go to prison, roll credits.
Nice looking bandages, Mommy. Stop, man. When I'm talking to you, you listen.
I would drop kick this kid. I would punt this little jerk across a football field. His dad is also a mega douchebag too. He's like, yeah, son, show him who's boss.
Have a good day, son. Show him who's boss. Can I help you with something, macho?
He's giving, I destroyed the TV when my sports ball team loses and then yell at my wife energy. He's giving, I paid $18,000 to go to an alpha male camp energy. And yes, that's actually a real thing, by the way. Dad has this moment where he imagines him throwing douche canoe into a window and all the kids are cheering and he's like holding Juni up in the air. I wish that actually happened, but Dad opts to not commit attempted murder.
My dad was gonna beat him here to...
Yeah, whatever. I bet he's not even a spy kid. So it turns out that this dude pays a bunch of money to Mr. Floop, the TV show guy, and a bunch of inventors to come up with technologies that could be used for like war or espionage. And I think he works for the government, but I'm not really too sure.
You promised us an army, Mr. Floop, but our first $1 billion bought us only this.
Can you imagine being a spy, like top secret clearance spy, jumping trains, assassinating world leaders, only to become this hideous spawn of Satan being forced to dance on a children's show against your will like you're one of the Wiggles?
What the devil are these, finger... Oh, they're called thumb-thumbs.
I love this decision to have gargantuan thumb robots as a key part of this movie. Like, this looks like some kind of failed AI prompt. We're pretty much establishing that this Floop guy is a failed inventor who has the worst ideas and the worst execution. So basically Elon Musk. But he unveils a new project to the wealthy suit guy, and that ends up being robot children who are built to look exactly like the children of notable people. Spies, world leaders, public figures for some reason. Like, this one is a robot version of his son.
You hesitated. I had to. He's my son.
He calls them spy kids.
Spy kids!
That's the name of the movie. Oh, and they can't talk because they don't have brains, so they just mumble. But wait, if they don't have brains, how do they take commands? So all this puts Mom and Dad in an interesting situation because even though they're retired from spy stuff, all their colleagues are gone. They're missing. So they decide to leave and go save them. Uncle Felix comes strolling up to watch the kids, and Dad puts on this disguise, which is literally just a mustache. They go driving into the ocean to go find these agents, and I just imagine you're driving to work, and you see this van just bulldoze off a cliff. They get a broadcast from this car lady, and the signal gets interfered by the Floop show. But surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise! Mr. Floop is actually talking directly to them, and he kidnaps them. I wonder who's gonna save them. Over at home, all these alarms are going off, and the kids are super confused, and Felix quickly gets them to safety and starts explaining to them the spy stuff. It also turns out that Felix is not their uncle, but he was assigned to protect their family.
I'm not your uncle.
Behind this vault is like this submarine that's gonna take the kids to a safe house. Felix was supposed to come too, but he got attacked by the thumb robots. So Juni's like, yeah, Felix, beat his ass. Before Felix cuts out, he tells the kids to relay a message that the third brain lives to the OSS. I love their costumes because the mask has like one eye socket, but they're thumbs. Juni turns on the submarine, but he doesn't close the door, so Carmen's nearly flying out of it. This scene is so hilarious to me because they have no idea how to drive this thing, and they're just like going around in circles. Juni falls off the submarine, and his delayed reaction made me just absolutely lose it.
Juni? Juni, what are you doing down there?
But then the autopilot for the submarine is engaged somehow, and it starts taking them to the safe house.
Stop shaking. I can't. Stop shaking or you'll give yourself more warts.
Wait, so does Juni have warts because he has anxiety? Are anxiety warts a thing?
Juni, don't touch anything. Juni!
Carmen and Juni get to the safe house, and this place is straight up ballin', okay? I don't know why we don't have an Airbnb replica yet, but someone needs to get on that. They got snacks at auto refill. They got a bunch of cash to buy even more snacks. And tell me, why is it 2024 and we don't have the Spy Kids rehydrator yet? Elon Musk, I'm looking at your stupid ass, okay? You're spending all your damn money on these box trucks, tunnels, and fucking up Twitter when you should be making this, okay? I don't want to go to Mars. Okay, I don't give a fuck about that. I want a quarter pounder with cheese without leaving my damn house, okay? And I'm not paying for DoorDash. It's too expensive. For God's sake, focus on the real issues, okay? So over at Floop's, Mom and Dad are all tied up, and they're arguing about one of the kids still wearing diapers at night or something.
They wear diapers.
Only one is in diapers and only at night. It's not that unusual.
And then Mom whips out the laser ring and unties herself. I feel like she could have used that earlier. This place is so wacky. The floor starts moving around and Dad tries jumping over the pit, but it's just like a silly floor. It's not real. It's not actually a pit. And then Mom and Dad walk into the Las Vegas sphere and they get lost. They fall through a trap door onto Floop's dinner table, and this man is eating some weird shit. I'm seeing some kind of green substance. And so we find out Floop has been kidnapping all these secret agents because all these agents, including Dad, by the way, were a part of this secret project to create synthetic intelligence. And he's been trying to extract the research from the brains because apparently they destroyed everything. Floop also turns Felix into a Pokemon. But Mom and Dad are in trouble, right? And the only ones who can save them is Carmen and Juni, because in this movie, the kids are the ones that save the grown-ups. Meanwhile, at the safe house, the kids are reading a book on how to be spies. Carmen finds a scrapbook with a bunch of Mom and Dad's wedding pictures, and then she realizes that the story about the spies that Mom told her was an actual story about her parents. And also, tell me why Juni decides to randomly handcuff himself to a metal box. He's so silly. Carmen tells them that they have to work together to save their parents, and he's so unfazed. He's like, okay.
Find the OSS like Felix said. Okay, then let's go.
Then this asshole comes knocking on the door, and this is the lady from the water car. This is the water car lady, and she's smiling, and she's like, "We work with your parents, and my mama told me to never answer the door if any business people show up." She was right. Okay, and her and these Matrix looking guys, they come walking in and they tell Carmen and Juni that their dad sent over this message over and that they need help. Juni is like, oh shit, because he sees the Floop message and he's like, this TV show I've been watching is a little suspicious. And then these spy goons are using the microwave thingy and made a whole ass chicken. And you know I would be up there stuffing my face with a rotisserie chicken at McDonald's. I'm looking at you again, Elon Musk, okay? You better start making yourself useful. We needed you to make 10 Spy Kids inventions, not make 10 kids. I know it's confusing for you. This lady breaks the news to Juni that Floop turned the agents into sleep paralysis demons. She's like, this is what your parents are gonna turn into unless you give me the ChatGPT brain. Carmen tells her the message that Felix gave them, which is the third brain lives. And then the lady gives Carmen a bracelet and calls her special. And while this lady is trying to get more information from Carmen and Juni, Juni fixes the picture of Mom and Dad, and the brain that they're looking for just like appears. Juni realizes that these people are shifty as hell. The thumbs destroyed their Kia Soul, and this lady snatches the brain. Look how fake this thing is. It's like they bought this thing off of Temu. So now Carmen and Juni realize that they gotta get the brain back and stop these bad guys. So they start throwing equipment at them. These grown adults just stand there frantically, like you'd think one of them would try and like tackle them or something. Carmen makes this unnecessary jump over a ceiling fan, and this idiot hurts his hands. Dumbass. Oh yeah, and there's like a bunch of jetpacks in the hideout, so all the Matrix goons start taking them and they like fly away. Car lady is like, send in the thumbs.
Similar thumbs.
Okay, but this would legitimately terrify me. Like if Shaquille O'Neal-sized thumbs started busting through the windows, I'm shitting on the floor. Full stop, no warning, shitting on the floor. Carmen flies away, and the car lady tries getting Juni, and this lady gets so up in this sequence. She like bangs her head on the countertops. Juni knocks out this dude with his metal box, and he accidentally turns on one of the jetpacks, and it straight up burns off this lady's face. And I'm like, damn, she is no longer alive. But oh wait, no, this is Spy Kids, and the movie is rated PG, so her head is just on fire, and it's okay. Then we get a jetpack chase scene that features some very 2001 CGI. And there's this part where Carmen drops Juni, and I just imagine him in front of a green screen just like flailing his arms around. I know that this is low-hanging fruit, but they're straight up jetpacking in a department store and no one seems to notice. I feel like if I were working there, it probably goes something like this. Oh, shit. Oh, God. Hello, police. Some fucking kids just crashed the department store. And there's weird thumb people. I don't know what's going on. Oh, that's a nice outfit. I like that outfit on you. You need me to ring you up or? Oh, just walk it out. Okay. All right. Stay safe. Avoid the thumb people. Okay. Floop is very frustrated with this TV show, and he's taken out on the mutants who are hanging against their will. He's really hyperfixated on this show, feeling like it's incomplete, like it's missing something. And Dr. Minion is like, hey, shouldn't you be more concerned about our robot children army? Floop finds out that the synthetic brain exists, but that they lost it. So Dr. Minion suggests that they send these two robot clones of Carmen and Juni to get it back. We cut over to real Carmen and Juni, and they're hanging out at the playground. They're trying to figure out like where mom and dad are, but the tracking device isn't working. So Carmen is like, who made this trash? She finds out that it's this guy named Machete, who also happens to be their real uncle. Carmen takes off her bracelet and realizes that there's like a literal tracking device on it, and robot Juni comes up and starts talking weird.
She's getting stupider by the minute.
And man, these robot children are very strong. Juni is trying so hard to destroy the brain so that they don't get it. He's like gnawing on it, but the robot kids ending up getting it anyways, and they use their rocket boots to fly away. But Juni took the necklace from Robot Carmen, which indicates that there's going to be hundreds of these things running around, and that this synthetic brain is going to make them like unstoppable, right? So they got to do something. Over at Floop's castle, Dad admits that he made the brain and was ordered to destroy it, but he didn't destroy it for some reason. He replaces it with a literal walnut in the flashback. Yep, that was a walnut, all right. Carmen gives a cab driver like $10,000 and they end up at Machete's storefront. I don't really know how they knew where to go. I'm pretty sure they're in the middle of like a foreign country. But they walk in and Machete is completely unfazed by these children that he's never seen before just waltzing in.
What are you working on?
World's smallest camera.
I don't see it.
Ah, but it sees you.
Do you think that they use CGI for this? He asks who they are, and Carmen says her very long Latina name, and it activates this spy door, because I guess her name activates doors or something.
Carmen Elizabeth Juanita Ecos Bravo Cortez.
And he's like, you damn kids need to leave my store. Because I guess Machete and their dad had a falling out. Over at Floop's, Mr. Floop decides he doesn't want to do the evil thing anymore. He just decides he wants to be good and that he wants to just focus on his weird show. But then Robot Carmen and Juni give Minion the synthetic brain, and then Minion turns on Floop. He takes off his glasses and he sends Floop to be locked in the Vegas sphere, which is the virtual room, but I like calling it the Vegas sphere, okay? Oh, and we find out that the reason that Machete and Dad haven't spoken in a really long time is because Machete, he makes weapons for both good and bad guys, including Floop. And Carmen and Juni tell him that Mom and Dad are captured at Floop's castle, but Machete is just not willing to help. He's like, sorry, you're on your own. He shows them this cute little airplane and then lets them stay the night. But then Carmen and Juni whip out their glow sticks to sneak around, and they don't really need because the room is very well lit. Like they literally didn't even need the glow sticks. They steal a map to Floop's castle and a bunch of other spy stuff, like some gum and other things, and they hijack the cutie plane. So they're flying, but they're a couple of literal children, so the plane's whacking out. There's like several instances where I'm pretty sure they'd both be dead.
You did this on purpose, you kamikaze!
Oh, Carmen, I don't think you can say that. So they eject out of the plane into the ocean, and they start swimming into this cave. Juni makes a pee-pee joke.
The water's warmer in here. Oh, I just peed. Ugh.
They sneak into the castle, but they notice one of the thumb robots, so they go and hide. Carmen chews this electric gum, and that just completely knocks it out immediately. I wish I had this. I feel like I could use this at night if some strange man starts following me. So they're running around, and Juni's placing all those little tiny cameras everywhere, and he has a little iPad so we can see what's going on. And some more of those thumb robots trying to attack them, but then Carmen blows an electric bubble that essentially does the same thing as the gum. And I just love how these stupid thumb robots didn't stand a chance. They're still looking for their parents, and they notice that all the robot kids are standing in line, so they try and blend in, but then the robot kids immediately notice them. And boy, are Carmen and Juni in big trouble. We see that trick floor again, so it's fine if Carmen doesn't make the jump since it's just glass, right? Or is it? Juni kind of wanders into the virtual room because he doesn't know where to go, and he's immediately greeted by an enormous version of Floop, which is literally Floop, but he's just giant. And he's talking about Juni's warts for some reason.
Warts. From sweaty hands sprout warts.
You kidnapped my parents, made Seiko rub at children, and swallowed up my sister.
But I didn't want any of that.
I don't know, dude. You seemed pretty into it for a minute there. Meanwhile, Mom and Dad are tied up and Dr. Minion walks in. We learn that he was involved in the brain making. That is the fakest mustache I've ever seen. It just looks like a massive eyebrow. But yeah, so apparently Minion was so shifty that Dad got him fired from the OSS, and I guess Minion isn't real happy about that. So Minion turns Dad into a drawing that Juni made earlier in the movie. Mom tries to get all logical with him, and she's like, starts using her mom voice. She's like, what did you think you were gonna accomplish by doing this?
What do you think you're gonna accomplish by doing this?
Petty. He's petty. He wants to turn your man into a blob because he's a tattletale. And if some asshole got me fired from my job, you know I can't say I wouldn't tie that snitch up and turn him into SpongeBob, but specifically SpongeBob from that episode where his ass acts like Chaka from Land of the Lost. And I get it. I'd be messy too. At least it's reversible, okay? Don't be so dramatic. Carmen lands into the place where all the thumbs are made. And I like how they have this one singular sexy nurse thumb. Like, I wonder what her origin story is. Like, how did she get there? I feel like it involves a lot of Lana Del Rey music.
I was in the winter of my life, and the men I met along the road were my only summer.
Minion tells the villain dude, who I'm still not sure if he works for the government or not, that the children army is finished. Oh, and the car lady is back, and she's looking like Looney Tunes with her hair all jacked up. It's a very convincing bald cap too. You can't even tell that she's wearing one. Over in the Vegas sphere, Floop tells Juni that if he got out, he would stop everything because he doesn't want to be bad anymore. Juni throws a piece of the shocky gum at Floop, and it breaks the whole virtual room, so now they can escape. Then he attacks one of the thumbs, but it ends up being his sister in disguise. They get to where their parents are locked up, and man, Minion straight up messed up Dad. He's looking like Gumby. He did him dirty. And Floop says he can just like change him back, so we're just supposed to pretend like this dude didn't kidnap a bunch of innocent people and force them to dance on a children's TV show. Like, he's fine, he's good now, right? So the corporate-y looking dudes show back up to see like the children army, when all of a sudden, Floop uses the intercom to call Minion.
I thought you said Floop wasn't here. He's not.
A problem, Mr. Minion.
And he's so caught off guard, so he goes to like check out what's happening, right? Because he's like, wait, I thought I like locked you in the virtual room. But oh wait, it wasn't Floop talking, it was Juni?
You're supposed to be in line with the others. You're supposed to be in line with the others.
One by one, all the family members start popping up, and I just imagine them all laying on the ground just waiting for their turn to show up in the shot. So they turn him into another abomination, and they just leave him there, and he immediately gets out. Like, you'd think maybe they'd lock him in one of the jail cells or something. So now everyone is racing to the control room to stop the children from taking over the world.
Can you shut them down from here?
It's too late.
So good. So freaking good. So their solution is to have Floop program the children to be good instead of bad, which is vague, but we'll accept it. Mom and Dad get captured again, and Carmen and Juni have to fight the robot version of themselves. This initially goes as you'd expect, but then Carmen starts hyping up Juni, and he's like, yeah, you're right. I'm a badass.
Steve, you're strong. You're not that strong, Juni.
They end up spraying this cement stuff on them and running away. This next scene, I imagine to be the single most chaotic thing ever. Like, just look how many damn kids there are. You know, not all of them were acting right that day. This part right here, where they're walking into a straight line, probably took 3 hours. Mom and Dad beat up the bad guys, and they're about to figure out how they're gonna deal with all these kids. And Machete comes popping up out of nowhere to help. And you know, I'm expecting some kind of like crazy 88 scene from Kill Bill, right? But before they get that far, Floop figures out how to make them good, and the kids start attacking the bad guys. I just want to pause for a moment and point out this child who looks incredibly confused. So they're throwing around the bad guys, right? And the Cortez family just moves on. They start hashing out like the family drama, and I'm thinking, wait, like what actually happened to the bad guys? because we never figure out where they went. Like, we know they were being thrown around by the kid robots, but did they go to jail? Did they just go home? I have a lot of questions. Oh, and we're supposed to just pretend like Floop is the nice guy now, and I'm sorry, but jail. Send him to jail. You can't just say, I'm sorry, and move on, because he literally kidnapped people. And then we abruptly cut to the epilogue where Juni doesn't have warts anymore because his anxiety is cured. And there's a news story about the robot children randomly saving mankind. And the news lady is like, whose kids are these? Out of context, if I was watching that, I'd probably assume that they were part of some cult. Machete and Dad have made up, and Floop has decided to feature Robot, Juni, and Carmen on the show when all of a sudden, a spy transmission appears. George Clooney pops up on the TV talking about a spy mission, and his eyes are censored.
Gregorio, Ingrid, I wasn't talking to you.
At first, Mom and Dad assume he's asking them to go on a mission, but really he's saying that he wants the spy kids to go instead. Juni and Carmen say that anything they do as a family. And then Carmen says this really cute line about how family is the mission worth fighting for, and the movie ends there. Even with all the plot holes and confusing plot elements, the ending ended up being very wholesome, and I just love this movie. I still think Floop should go to prison though. Like, he kidnapped people, right? And we don't even get an update on how these recovered mutants are doing. Are they in therapy? Like, they probably need to be medicated for the rest of their lives. And for real, I expected this movie to be really cringe and silly. But while in fact it was silly, it was a really good movie, right? And I loved it more than I thought it would. I encourage everyone to just go and watch this movie. Stop what you're doing and watch this damn movie, okay? If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.